Hello and welcome to the James Walker Show. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Dolemite Is My Name in this edition of Netflix Rewind. Dolemite Is My Name is directed by Craig Brewer and stars Eddie Murphy, Davine Randolph, Craig Robinson, Mike Epps, and Wesley Snipes. Eddie Murphy stars as Rudy Ray Moore, and it chronicles his creation of his alter ego, Dolemite, a comedian, singer, action star, pimp, essentially. It's like a funny version of Shaft. It does follow the typical biofilm structure, starting with his humble beginnings, and shows his rise to superstardom. I was really excited to see this movie, and I'm so glad a lot of the trailers for this movie were red band trailers. If it wasn't for those trailers, I don't think I would have watched this. This is Eddie Murphy's first movie from a major studio since 2012. I think the last movie he did was like Tower Heist or some shit like that. This was a very much welcome return to the hard R comedies. This movie was fantastic. I know this year is filled with amazing, critically acclaimed films, but I think this could easily be one of the top films this year. This is classic Eddie Murphy. This is Eddie Murphy's return to his classic stylings that we saw in Beverly Hills Cop, Boomerang, Coming to America. This was so refreshing to see him in something like this. I knew very little about Rudy Ray Moore going into this movie, so I did do a little bit of research, and Eddie Murphy is the only person who could have played him. You can tell that Rudy Ray Moore had an impact on Eddie Murphy and his comedy stylings, but I just didn't know how much of an influence he had on a lot of people. Snoop Dogg has even said that without Rudy Ray Moore, there would be no Snoop Dogg. The great thing about Murphy's performance, though, is that while many critics are calling it a comeback, it feels like he never left, but it also feels fresh. It feels like this movie came directly after Coming to America and those movies. With Murphy as producer, I figured he was probably already in mind to star as Rudy Ray Moore, but I'm not sure how much of the script was actually him or from the writers Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski. I'm sure he gave them free range considering their works on Ed Wood and Man on the Moon, some of the best biofilms that have ever come out. If that's the case, they did a great job writing for Eddie Murphy. If you didn't know any better, you would think that Eddie Murphy wrote the script. It just comes off so natural for him. What I really loved about this movie and what the writers did was they made a more comedic biofilm. And that's something that I've always wanted to see. This isn't a person that had drug or alcohol issues. This wasn't a person who had a troubled past with their parents. I mean, Rudy Ray Moore does, but it's really a throwaway line that they only say once and they never come back to it. They don't dwell on his past. This was a straightforward comedy for a typical biopic film. The director, Craig Brewer, is someone whose work I like very much. Mostly. When I saw Hustle and Flow, I recommended it to all my friends. I thought it was a great, great film. But Brewer's talent comes from being able to get the best performances out of his actors from really focusing on their strengths. And Dolemite Is My Name is no exception. I know a lot of people who watch my channel watch my casting couch segments, and the reason I do those is because I've always felt that casting is one of the most important parts of a film, right behind the script and the director. If an actor isn't right for a part, or the actor doesn't connect with the role, the character will just crumble away and your movie will be seriously, seriously hindered. Everybody in this film was superb in their parts. There wasn't one character or actor that I didn't like or didn't think delivered. Craig Robinson was great, as was Keegan-Michael Key. Mike Epps was hilarious. Even the small cameos from Cody Smith-McPhee, Chris Rock, Bob Odenkirk, Snoop Dogg, they were all terrific in the short time that they were on film. But after Eddie Murphy's performance, my two favorite characters were Lady Reed, played by Davine Randolph, and Derval Martin, played by Wesley Snipes. I wasn't too familiar with Davine Joy Randolph's acting work, so I looked her up, and she's mostly done some Broadway stuff, but she has been nominated for a Tony. But she was fantastic in this. She was really, really funny. I hope she gets a lot more work after this, because I would love to see her in more movies. This was probably, though, my favorite Wesley Snipes performance since Blade. He was so fucking funny in this. He plays Derval Martin, and in real life he's someone who had a small role in Rosemary's Baby. And he's hired by Rudy Ray Moore to direct the Dolemite movie. It's the movie within the movie. And because he had a small role in a big movie, he has this arrogance about him. He just feels that he's so much better than everybody around him and the project he is working on. But Wesley Snipes delivers. He is just on point with it. He is so funny. Just everything he did, I just started busting up laughing. When he's acting within the Dolemite movie, that is hands down my favorite part. The best part of this movie is the filming of the Dolemite movie. Unfortunately, that's kind of where this movie also suffers. This movie isn't without its flaws. The two biggest flaws with this movie are the pacing and the timing. This is a 2-hour-long movie, and it feels like a 2-hour-long movie. There was a lot of stuff in there I felt needed to be cut. A lot of stuff that didn't propel the story, didn't offer anything in terms of character development, scenes that weren't really funny or too dramatic. There was just a lot of little scenes that I felt didn't need to be in there. Also, in terms of pacing, the movie doesn't really pick up until they start filming the Dolemite movie, which is about halfway through. The first half is good, it is funny, but it is a slow build. And the laughs in the first part are just kind of some steady chuckles. They're not real laugh out louds. But when they start filming the Dolemite movie, that's when the gutbusters really start coming. But besides that, I really enjoyed this movie. I love seeing Eddie Murphy's comeback to comedy stylings that made him a star in the first place. I'm going to give Dolemite Is My Name, watch it. If it comes up in your recommended movies, give it a watch. Thanks for watching. Be sure to give a like and a comment below with your thoughts on Dolemite Is My Name. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. And as always, I will see you in the next episode.